Hi everyone, welcome back. Today is the first day of a brand new week, so we're going to have a whole new topic for this week. This week we are talking about outdoor games and activities. I did mention it on Friday last week. So Teacher Kate doesn't really have much outdoor space at her apartment, and certainly not outdoor space that truly will accommodate some of the things we're going to talk about this week. So I will do my best to provide additional resources to really help you guys to understand what's going on and the things I'm talking about. But for this week, unfortunately, we're going to have to take a step back to the format where I talk and describe to you the types of things that are the topic of the day instead of doing them with you in a demonstration type video. I do have a short little video demonstration for today's topic, so this will be the one exception to the rule. So let's jump right in here. Today we're going to talk about gardening. So a lot of us either have gardens or got some stuff for gardening through school projects. So if you have seeds or starters ready to go, then this video is for you. If you're interested in starting a garden, this video is also for you. Later on in the video, we're going to take a look at Teacher K doing some planting and transplanting of her own. I am, as I mentioned before, a one-woman show here, so the camera did keep falling over in that video, and unfortunately, as I kept setting it back up, in order to keep the camera upright, it did keep having to aim the camera higher. So as the video goes on, you see less and less of the gardening and more of just what my hands are doing, which I think still makes for a good video. It is a time lapse, so if that's something that makes you a little dizzy or hurts your eyes or something like that, just beware that that will be my demonstration video a little bit later on when we get there. So I do want to talk about the good things that gardening can do for us and all of the benefits and why it's an activity that is going to help us reach some of our goals. So when we garden, we can make it whatever we need it to be. So if we just need time outside and something to do with our hands, you can do that, and you can wear gloves, and it's a completely basically sensory safe activity. You are going to be getting those garden smells. So if you are olfactory or smell sensitive, that might be something to consider. But for people who are touch sensitive or vestibular, which is our movement system, sensitive, you can garden pretty much sitting down. There's not too much moving. Especially if you have a helper. You can also wear gloves, which, as long as you're okay with the sensation of the gloves, will help to cut down on some of that sensory experience if that's not what you're after. However, I strongly encourage you to make it a sensory experience. Try gardening without gloves. You will get dirt underneath your fingernails, but that's okay. That's why we're going to wash our hands. We're going to take a shower, take a bath, whatever your fancy is. Get under those fingernails and get that dirt back out, and that will also be another sensory experience for you guys. So the dirt, the water, the plants, all fun textures we can experience when we garden. We also have that planning of watering our garden, if that's something you do. Planning where the plants are going to go in our pots is also another visual thing for us to go through, and it can help us to learn some different ways that we can compensate if we do have trouble with visuospatial skills. Teacher K is not always the best at estimating distances or space between things. So what I did when I gardened, and you probably won't be able to catch it in the video, when I did my big long pots, I took out all of my plants and just kind of placed them on top before I stuck them way down in to the pots and the soil, just to make sure that everything was where I wanted it and they looked the same space apart, instead of digging a hole, putting one in, and finding out that I had two plants way too close together and it was too late. So visuospatial and visual planning. It's also really great for our visual motor and body scheme, because when we're doing anything where we have to reach in different directions like we do for gardening and planting, we're working on crossing that middle, which is really, really good. It's going to help us in gym class. It's going to help us in a regular learning classroom. It's going to help us to type at the computer when our hands are coming together on that keyboard at the middle, or cutting and we're using our hands at the middle, or handwriting, etc., etc., etc. Gardening also is really great as far as working on maybe even some strengthening, right? If we're having to carry that big the hose and squeezing the hose to water plants, or carrying a watering can can be heavy, and that heavy work is really great sensory wise if we're seeking deep pressure, but also it can also just be a good strengthener for our hands and our hand muscles, which is great for school skills as well. So gardening has some really wonderful, wonderful benefits. Also, you get fruits and veggies, or pretty flowers, depending on what you plant. So I encourage you guys who have that outdoor access, or even just a little patio like I do, to plant a garden. So here comes that demo.
Well, I've been living in this month of Sundays for so long, I don't remember Saturday night. Broken records don't play new tunes, except for once in a blue moon. And I've looked, but the moon is still white. And I've pinned some hope to the summit of someday. Someone somewhere